Good morning, Marietta. Good morning, Marietta. Thank you for joining us this morning as we pay reverence to the many lives impacted by September the 11th, 2001. It is fitting and appropriate that we take the time to remember and reflect so that we can build a foundation where resilience can reside. This morning we have a very special program for you. And on live stream, all the other classes, 9th through 11th, are watching, but we have our seniors here. You are the leaders here at Marietta High School. So I'm challenging you and encouraging you today to take the message back into these hallways, because you will have a front row seat to all of the energy that's going to be placed on this stage. We have asked a very, very special, important person to bring you her story about empathy. And at the end, we have several dancers who are from Marietta High School. We have one from the senior class, one from the junior class, and one from the freshman class that have learned a dance in 3 days. And I hope that you give them positive energy and show them also empathy as they bring to you walking in someone else's shoes, the other side of 9/11. Please help me to welcome our presenter to the stage.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam, God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam, God bless America, my home, sweet home. From the mountains to the prairies,
plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center.
A lot of smoke in lower Manhattan.
We understand that there has been a plane crash on the southern tip of Manhattan. You're looking at the World Trade Center.
Looks like 6, 7 floors were taken out. And there's more explosions right now. Hold on, people are running.
Hold on just a moment. We've got an explosion.
You see the two towers, a huge explosion now raining debris on all of us.
The year that 9/11 happened, I decided to take some time off with my infant son, and he was 2, and we were at home, so I was not at school that day. And I was just going about my morning chores, waiting for him to wake up, and my mom calls me on the phone and says, "You absolutely have to turn on the television. Something really bad is happening in New York."
So the day of 9/11, I was in 5th grade. So I was at school, and I remember walking around, and because back then we didn't have phones, so nobody actually knew anything was happening. We just saw a bunch of the teachers were upset. And at first I saw like one teacher, and I was like, oh, okay, she's having a bad day. But the more and more I saw teachers being upset, I realized that something was going on that was a little bit bigger than that.
And I was actually right in the middle of a staff meeting, and we had totally locked ourselves off from the outside world and didn't know anything that was happening. And later on that morning, we had one of our assistants walk in and basically say the words, "The towers are gone."
I remember just being shocked. I felt as if the whole world was stopping. And so I stayed inside there for 15, 20 minutes. Again, I was working, I was getting paid, so I didn't feel like I could sit there and watch the news all day. But it was weird. I remember just being outside and just different thoughts going through my head, unsure what to think or how to process it. I'm not sure I had a radio that day. Cell phones weren't super huge at that point. So
I was sitting in my sorority house, and they had just put breakfast out, and the TV was on, and I just remember everybody sitting in our common area and calling us all in there because the first plane had hit.
So about the time I turned on the television, the camera had swung toward the buildings, and everything was in flames. And as I began to watch it, a second plane came in and hit the second tower. And I just remember that feeling of going, oh my gosh, the world's not going to be the same ever again.
And my dad was in the military, and so, I mean, I kind of thought through it a little bit, but when I got home, I really realized what that meant for me specifically and my family.
And she said, the World Trade Centers are gone, we're at war. And so the whole rush of feelings about what was happening, we rushed to go to televisions to kind of see what was going on.
And so nobody knew at all the depth of what was going down that day. We just sat on the couch and watched as classes were canceled. More girls started coming in. We started getting on the phone with our families. And then it really started to sink in that this was actually an attack.
It was a pretty stressful day. I remember even a few days later, I was working in Atlanta around tall buildings, and I was the so yeah, it was a really scary day.
That's when it really hit parents. Parents just immediately wanted to go get their children. Here in Atlanta, we were safe, but we didn't know that.
And I remember actually a couple hours I left to go running in downtown Atlanta. And I remember like in downtown and thinking like, oh my gosh, is this something that could happen here? You know, and I'm stuck out here. It just really hits home when you start thinking about it being in your city and the amount of people that it affected.
Terrorists deciding to attack the most powerful nation in the most powerful city, that was very bold, and you could just kind of feel the world shifting almost on its axis.
Was the worst non-wartime terror attack in the U.S. 2,752 people died when those two planes flew into the Twin Towers in New York.
9/11 is often referred to as the darkest day in American history. In the days that followed the 9/11 attacks on America, people of all ages and from all walks of life found themselves united by an extraordinary spirit of compassion and resilience. Many Americans no longer cared about the kinds of things that made us different, the things that separate us. Instead, just for a little while, they came to realize just how much we really, have in common. This truly special moment of empathy and togetherness helped to reassure, comfort, and inspire an entire nation at a time of great sorrow and darkness. For many who lived through the attack on 9/11, that moment of hope has become a life-changing reminder that we are stronger as a nation when we work together. And you're stronger as a school, as a class, when you work together. And working together requires a great deal of empathy. You know empathy. Definition, the understanding of or the ability to identify with another person's feelings or experiences. Can you relate? Maybe not. For instance, when I was a freshman in high school, my stepfather walked into my bedroom, stabbed me 13 times, sexually assaulted me, and beat me beyond recognition. He basically left me for dead. By the time I reached the emergency room, not only was I told that I had to have emergency surgery because my jugular vein had been nicked, one of the stab wounds in my neck, but I was also told that my stepfather murdered my mother in cold blood. Needless to say, life for me would never be the same. Growing up as a motherless daughter, now a fatherless daughter because my stepfather had to spend life in prison. Where do you go from there? What do you do with all of that pain? You see, my experience in high school, that became my story. Everywhere I went, everybody knew, that's the girl. That's the girl that survived the attack. That's the girl. That's the girl whose mom was killed. That's the girl. That's the girl that was stabbed 13 times and left for dead. So on one end, I had the finger pointing, but on the other end, I had my family saying, your life was spared for an extraordinary purpose. You're going to be great one day. But I didn't feel great. You know, for me, because my story was filled with so much pain, by the time I reached sophomore year in high school, I was very different. That bubbly, chipper, shy personality that I had was now dealing with depression, suicide, and addiction because I was filled with so much pain. You know, it was during that time in my life that I needed my school community. I needed my family more than anything. And I just couldn't find the words because pain sometimes makes you silent. I believe that if I had enough people in my life during that time who would have empathetically listened to my heart and understood my pain, I would have avoided many of the challenges and poor decisions that I made. And boy, did I make a lot of them. Because when you're angry and you're bitter and you're sad, you make decisions out of that place of pain. You know, it wasn't until I became an adult that I pursued therapy and counseling. And when I was doing therapy and counseling as an adult, I was angry and bitter at my grandmother, who became my caregiver after my mother was killed. I was angry and I was bitter at my aunts and uncles because I felt like they should have done enough to make sure that I got the support that I needed in high school. They should have been the empathetic ears to hear that I was in a place of pain. Instead, I got judgment. It wasn't until I grasped the sense of empathy that I realized that not only did I lose my mother, but my grandmother lost a daughter. And my aunts and uncles, they lost a sister. Everybody was in pain. Yes, I was the victim in that moment, but everybody was in pain. So to keep them in a prison of unforgiveness was unfair to them. I had to forgive. Forgiveness is not easy. Forgiveness can be hard when your heart is broken into pieces and your life is torn apart. You have to forgive to heal your heart. You know, everyone has a story. Everyone has a past. Everybody's dealing with something. You don't know what people are dealing with at home. You don't know the abuse. You don't know the trauma that people are enduring. So empathy says, you know what? I may not understand, maybe I can't quite relate because that hasn't happened to me personally, but empathy says, I hear you. I see you, and I'm there for you. You know, if more of us would be empathetic, we'd have less bullying. Did you know that? If more of us were empathetic, we'd have less school shootings. Did you know that? The very people who shoot up schools are in pain. And they were treated terribly by their peers, so they decide to take revenge. Empathy, the ability to identify with another person's feelings or experiences. How about you? How empathetic are you? You know, that person that you might deem as an outcast or crazy, or maybe they walk around and they're depressed and you laugh at them. You talk about them. You spread rumors about them. You know what? How about taking a walk, a nice little stroll in that person's shoes? How about just taking a moment to understand the pain of another person? And if you can't do that, how about just don't judge? How about that? When we put empathy into practice, it gives us the will and the tools to be effective change makers. And I am looking at a room full of 2019, 20. You all graduate 19, right? 2020. Okay, 2020. The school year just started, I'm sorry. But I'm looking at a room full of change makers. You all are graduating at the turn of a century. And so we need you to leave this place more empathetic, because empathy allows us to grasp the many sides of today's complex problems, and it gives us the capacity to collaborate with other people. You know, empathy helps you to demonstrate your ability to be just as good as listening as talking. Did you know that? Empathy also means being able to lead a team one minute and be a part of a team the next. So I leave you with this today. How will you put empathy into practice? Here at your school, at home, and in your community. This last song that we're going to sing is an empowerment song. And so, you know, I kind of invite you to sing if you know the words, you know what I'm saying? Stand on your feet if you want to, you know. Have fun with us. But I also want you to understand that everybody has a story and that we're all in this together. This is me. Come on, y'all. Come on, put them hands together. Hey, I am not a stranger to the dark. By obey, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all
my scars, so run away. They say no one will love you as you are, but I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am proof, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me. Shame sinking. We are bursting through the barricades and reaching towards the sun. Yeah, sing y'all, hey, that's who we become. I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us. Let me hear you. For we are glorious. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, hey, hey, gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. Hey, hey, I am brave, I am proof, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me. Oh, 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 hey, another round of bullets hits my skin. Hey, the fire away, 'cause today I won't let the pain sink in. We are bursting through the barricades and reaching towards the stars. Oh, that's who we become. I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the darkest words wanna cut me down, come on, stand on your feet. I'ma send a flood, gonna drown them out. This is brave, this is proof, this is who I'm meant to be. This is me. Oh, 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 this is me. Woo! Woo, 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 woo! You all have been awesome.
That was tough on the end, but they took the energy from you. Those were my dancers. Please give it to them. Do you know how hard it is? Do you know how hard it is to dance without music? But they took it from you, so thank you very much. Thank you for showing them empathy. Thank you for showing them care. And one more round of applause. If you can get on your feet, that'll be even better for Miss Chai. She's in the back. Thank you, Marietta, for being an awesome audience today. You're dismissed.